Welcome. This is a guide on how to wax your chain once you've waxed it already and you want to know what you're going to do after. Oh, does this make any sense? Just watch the video. You just got back from a ride, your bike's pretty muddy, your chain's previously been waxed. How do you get it back into tip-top condition? Shift your chain so you're now in the smallest sprocket on the cassette. Now pedal the chain backwards until the quick link is at the top of the chain, above the chainstay. If you have a SRAM rear mech like this, you can push the cage forward and impress the small button below and it will keep the tension off the rear mech. This also takes the tension off the chain, so when you split it, it doesn't fly everywhere. Take the quick links, or power links as they are in this occasion because it's a SRAM chain, but the term is kind of interchangeable nowadays, and remove the chain from around the rear mech and chainring. Take a chance now just to wipe over the power links with a dry cloth to remove any debris. Now take your dirty chain and feed it onto a bent spoke. It doesn't matter how many links you get per kind of string, it just needs to be short enough that when you hang it up after you've waxed it, it's not going to touch anything and can drip back into the wax pot. This next stage you don't need to do every time. In fact, I quite often clean the chain on the bike as part of cleaning the rest of the bike, and that's normally good enough. To remove any kind of extreme dirt or the old wax, all I'm doing here is washing it in some boiling hot water and agitating it, then letting it drip off. In the summer I tend to do all the processes before now, wipe it down with a lint-free rag, then put it straight into the wax pot and skip out this boiling water stage. Remove the chain from the boiling water and being careful not to burn yourself, dry it with a lint-free rag. Even though the bike was pretty dirty, the wax chain has hardly retained any dirt. Now with either a hairdryer or a hot air gun, remove the excess water from inside the chain. You only have to do this for about 30 seconds. Now to clean the bike. As I said, in the summer I just do this stage. Take the chain off, wipe it with a lint-free rag, dry it with a hairdryer or a hot gun and straighten the wax pot. While you're cleaning your bike, I tend to put my chain into a cold wax pot, and this allows the metal of the chain to warm up and allow more wax inside it. As you can see, this chain isn't perfectly clean, it's still got some of the old wax on. That's not a problem because as the whole thing warms up, it'll all melt into one bit and all the dirt will drop to the bottom. Agitate the chain a few times while it's melting. Once the solid wax is fully melted, I tend to leave it for 5-10 minutes, go off, have a shower, come back, hang it up and let the excess drip back into the pot. I then leave it there to go hard, which can take 30 minutes depending on the ambient temperature. To get the most life out of a cassette, I use a 2-chain rotation. The red and black chain in the background is already prepared, already waxed and ready to go on the bike. I personally then take the chain, break the links from my hands and then put it straight on the bike. Some people like to run it over a dowel or some kind of round surface to break the links properly, but I find within a couple of pedal strokes of riding the bike, it's good to go anyway. Guide the chain around the cassette, through the rear mech and over the chainring, leaving the 2 open ends at the top of the chainstay. Now you're ready to join the chain again with the power links. When you go to do that, there will be a little bit of wax inside the open ends of the chain. Simply push that through with the power links, take the power link out, just remove the wax and make sure the outer plates are clear so you get a flat contact area with the power link itself and the chain, and then join it as you would normally. If you leave the open ends as I have here at the top, when you put a little bit of pressure on the crank, it will pop the power links closed. When you're reinstalling the chain, make sure the holes line up with the correct teeth on the fat thin chain ring. Put some pressure on the crank, release the tension on the rear mech and you're ready to go. You will notice there's still some stiff links in the chain. A couple of easy pedal revolutions to have that sorted and your chain will be running smoothly. This might all seem a bit of a hassle, but actually long term it's quite straightforward and you soon get into a routine. Come back, clean your bike, take the chain off, dry it, straighten to the wax spot, go and have a shower, come back, hang it up, it's ready to go. If you're running a second chain, stick that straight on, you can go out straight off. How often do you have to re-wax your chain? It depends. It depends on the conditions, where you're riding, how muddy it is, but it tends to tell you. It will get noisier, the chain will get noisier, you can clearly hear it, whereas if you're using a lube, a wet lube, it just becomes more contaminated and you can't hear. All it's doing is the damage and grinding away inside, and you just don't know it's doing that, whereas a wax chain will get louder. You can hear it's getting louder and it starts squeaking, and that's when it's time to re-wax it. In the winter, if it's really muddy, you might have to re-wax it every time you go out for a ride, whereas in the summer, even off-road, you can get a couple of 100 kilometres out of it, which is a long way off-road. On the road, it could be anything. If it's dry, you could get 300-400 kilometres out of one chain before you need to re-wax it again. Why run two chains? Well, the cassette is the expensive part and you want to go as long as you can without replacing that. So if you do two chains in rotation, swap them. Every time you wax it, put on the other one you've already pre-prepared. The chains will wear much slower and they will wear at the same rate. So you can interswap them without any issues. There'll be no shifting issues and the cassette will just go on forever. I personally, on this mountain bike setup that I've shown you here, I've been running it for the last 9 months with the two chain rotation, and I've done 7,000 kilometers on it, and it's still not showing 0.01 chain wear on the chain checker tool, sorry. And I've done bike packing on it, I've done mountain bike races, I've done just general riding in wet and muddy conditions, and also during the summer. I'm running two chains from two different companies. One's a SRAM and the other one is from KMC. They were both brand new from when they started. Neither of them are showing any excess wear. I rotate them both. I haven't kept a track of which one has done more, but approximately about the same, and they're both going strong. I can't tell which one's on the bike. The power links are actually single use, although I have used them for the whole 9 months. Swap them over as and when I swap the chain over, and I had 2 sets running and they've been perfectly fine. Saying that, I am going to swap over to a Wippermann 12-speed chain link just because they are reusable and should be stronger, give you more peace of mind when you're bikepacking in the middle of nowhere. I do always carry spare chain links or power links. The wax I've used here is Silca Secret Hot wax, that's quite hard to say, and if I'm over bikepacking away from the hot wax itself, I'll take Silca Synergetic just to top up. Normally will last, but if you get a rainstorm or you're going through heavy mud, then you'll need to top it up with something. And if I've missed anything out or you have any questions, please put it in the comments below. Please watch one of these videos. Where is it? Here? Oh, it's this awkward bit at the end, isn't it? What do I do now? There, is it there? Thanks for watching.